So, Ginger,
Yeah?
you know how we wanted to start a podcast, but we were having trouble coming up with a topic?
Yeah?
Okay, so here's my pitch. The topic of the podcast is us trying to come up with the topic for the podcast.
What, like we pitch each other podcast ideas and that's the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. We could call it, What Should Our Podcast Be About?
Miles, that's really stupid. Let's do it.
What should this song be about? I'm trying to figure it out. What should this song be about? Could you perhaps help me out? I've had a moment of doubt. What should this song be about? Welcome to What Should Our Podcast Be About? The podcast where we try to figure out what this podcast that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm Miles Grover.
And I'm Ginger Barham.
Welcome back to the podcast where we didn't do one last week.
We have been sick for pretty much the entire month of February.
Yeah, it's not been very fun. Every time we get better, we have a day or two and then we get sick again.
Yeah, we've had breaks from being sick.
Yeah, it's not been the best.
Which is why I still sound like this, and I'm going to try not to cough.
So, okay, shall we do podcast ideas?
Yes, let's do podcast ideas.
Do you want to start or should I start this week?
My first idea is a podcast where we just come up with skeleton pun names, and it's mostly just because I want to do that.
Skeleton pun names.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because I think we need a better name for our skeletons, so why not make a podcast out of it?
Okay.
Not our collective skeleton, our 12-foot skeleton.
Not like human skeletons need
Not
a different
our human
name.
skeletons.
Mhm. Okay, do you have any to start us off with?
This isn't mine, but Pelvis Costello is a good one.
Right, we've talked about that on the podcast before.
Oh, we have
Yeah.
mentioned Pelvis Costello. Bone Crawford.
Okay, I guess so. Boney Mitchell.
Boney Mitchell is really good.
I guess.
Boney Mitchell is very good. See, I knew I was bringing this to the right person.
I mean, I do like Skeletal Walter. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun.
But our skeleton could have multiple names.
Like Gandalf.
Could also be Boney Mitchell. I really like Boney Mitchell. That might be it.
I don't know. And that's the whole
First
podcast.
thought, best thought.
The whole podcast is just this.
That's it. End of
The
podcast.
podcast is over. All right. All right. Should we move on to another idea, I guess?
You don't want to come up with more skeleton puns?
Oh, I thought we just came up with the best one, apparently.
Well, we did, but the world can never have too many skeleton puns.
Okay. Ulna Thurman? No, that doesn't really work.
Ulna Thurman. I guess I am seeing that the problem with this podcast might be a lot of sustained silences.
Yeah. Oh, us just going, What about...
Basically, I'm thinking of bone names and then trying to come up with a name that matches it.
Right. That's what I just did with Ulna Thurman.
Yeah.
Which sort of works, I
What
guess.
about tibia? Could we think of anything for tibia?
Tibia. Oh, Tibia Newton-John?
That's really stupid.
It's your idea.
It's good. I just came up with the tibia. Well, I didn't come up with the tibia.
Ginger invented tibias.
TM. Clavicle?
Clavicle. I don't know if I got anything for clavicle.
No. Clavicle explains it all. That's nothing.
No, not really. Not really anything.
Femur?
Femur.
Skull.
Skull.
What's Scully's first name?
Dana Scully?
Dana Scully.
Well, that's not even that's
it is
just a spelling
it's spelled
change.
with a K. All right, moving on, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a whole lot of legs. I mean, there's a couple of bony ones, but other than that, I don't think there's a lot of legs to this idea. But
I'm glad I brought it though, just because now I have Boney Mitchell
and Tibia Newton-John.
and no Tibia Newton-John, not so much.
Okay. My first idea is, so if you don't follow the YouTube drama stuff, you might not know anything about this guy, but there's a YouTuber named James Somerton who a month or two ago got outed as having plagiarized most of his videos.
Yeah.
And he immediately deleted everything and disappeared for a while. Well, I think he made an apology video that was terrible.
He made an apology video and deleted it. Now he's recently come out with another one.
Right. So he just came out with a new apology video and then he started posting videos again.
Yeah.
And put his Patreon back up and stuff. And I don't really care about any of that at this point. Like, whatever, that guy sucks, and we're not going to watch his YouTube or anything. But I was thinking, in terms of bad podcast ideas, what if it's just a podcast where we plagiarize every other podcast? We just find transcripts from other podcasts and just read it as if it's our podcast.
And we call it the James Somerton Experience.
Yeah, or something. Yeah. I was just thinking Plagiarism, the podcast, but yeah, that might work.
No, like the Jimi Hendrix Experience,
Right.
the James
So
Somerton
the Jimmy
Experience.
Somerton Experience.
The Jimmy Somerton Experience. Yeah.
So we would, yeah. So
I don't like the idea of, I feel like maybe plagiarizing other podcasts is going to get us into trouble.
Might be not the best, especially if we advertise it by naming the podcast Plagiarism, the podcast.
If we name it the James Somerton Experience, I think people are going to figure it out too.
Right. I imagine that there probably are podcasts out there where somebody's plagiarizing, something when they make the podcast, but probably not literally plagiarizing other podcasts.
Yeah.
Where they just take the script from another podcast and read it.
I mean, hopefully not. Hopefully that's not happening.
It seems like it'd be pretty obvious if you did, right? Like if we're taking, like, say we get the transcript from a My Brother and Me episode and like I'll be Justin and Travis and you be Griffin, and like it'd be really weird and obvious. And
or if we were like, welcome to Evening Vale.
Right. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't think we wouldn't even, it would be like those bot websites where they just copy like stuff from another website and just put it on their website.
Yeah.
Right. To get search engine stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a bad idea. But it could be
very
funny.
Bad idea.
It could be funny.
If we plagiarize something funny, it could be.
Yeah, exactly. See, there you go.
It could be whatever we want to plagiarize.
Yeah, that's all we got to do.
Okay.
So that's my first idea. Do you have another idea?
Okay, so my second idea is a podcast where we just quote things at each other and the other person has to guess the reference.
Okay, so your idea is that one annoying guy that you know at work, the podcast or something.
Is that? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so you'd be like, bring me a shrubbery. And I'd be like, Monty Python or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, but we try to come up with really obscure ones that the other person will have trouble guessing.
I feel like that's going to be a really difficult line to write. I mean, it's a terrible idea to begin with.
Yeah.
But it's also, even within, if we accept the idea, it's going to be a tough line to ride of like, this person, you haven't seen this, so you would have no idea.
Yeah.
And this is a thing from a thing you've seen. And so of course you get it because it's like the thing everybody quotes from that thing.
Yeah.
Right. Finding those like obscure quotes that you would have some chance of getting, but not necessarily be easy would be tough, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't have a lot of legs, I admit.
Can you think of one at all that you would try to get me to guess?
Everything gets married, even animals and spiders.
Why, I do know that. What is that? Why can't I think of what that is?
Because you never can whenever I say it. And just because they aren't legally married.
It's from Space Ghost.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Bjork episode. The best episode of Space Ghost.
Space Ghost, Coast to Coast. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Not counting the fire ant episode.
I disagree.
Where he follows a fire ant. You can't even see the ant, I don't think.
Yeah.
He just is crawling on the ground through different locations, mumbling to himself for 11 minutes. I think.
Yeah, it's very engaging.
Best episode.
No, incorrect. It's the Bjork.
I believe
Tom York.
That is the Conan O'Brien episode, and that part's pretty good. But also the Ramones episode is kind of good because Zorak gets pretty animated at that point. But
yeah, but does he say y'all?
Zorak?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Where, because he learned to talk like that in Hattiesburg.
Where he was kicking it.
So
this is a good podcast also because...
How about just a Space Ghost fan cast?
Okay. So we would watch all of Space Ghost Coast to Coast and talk about that.
Yeah.
That could actually be a thing, I guess. I don't know that we could really do it right now.
Is the Fire Ant episode legitimately your favorite episode of Space Ghost?
No.
What's your favorite episode of Space Ghost?
I don't know. I don't know. It's been a long time since I watched most of them. And the Fire Ant one was just one of the more memorable
Yeah.
ones where it was like, are they really doing this?
What is your favorite episode of Space Ghost, and why is it the Bjork episode?
I mean, I have seen that one the most because you and I watch it somewhat regularly.
Yeah. Yeah, I show it to everyone.
And we showed it to Svetlana.
It's very important to me.
Yeah. It's a good episode for sure. For sure.
Got smashing light bulbs out by the dumpster. It's got so many hits.
It's got all the hits. There are probably some fans of that show out there that would listen to a podcast like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe just to be reminded because they haven't seen the shows for a long time because it's not been on the air for a long time.
Yeah, that is the problem is, you know, there's no new content to talk about.
Yeah, there are a bunch of seasons of it, I think, though.
I just remembered that I had a dream last night that I was making a Walking Dead podcast.
Oh, let's not do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Based on the show? Or
Based on the show? Well,
the comic?
I was just like recapping the show, basically.
Yeah, then we'd have to watch the show.
Yeah.
I mean, the first couple seasons are pretty good, but...
Yeah, it gets so bleak.
Yeah.
Like, it's just all desolation and no hope after Glenn dies.
Yeah. Spoilers. I mean,
Spoilers from like 7 years ago.
Almost all the characters die eventually, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, we all die eventually, but
yeah. Yeah, it's just a bit too nihilistic for me.
I mean, the thing I think about as far as The Walking Dead goes is that, like, I listened to an interview or something with Robert Kirkman, who wrote the comics, and his take was like, if a zombie apocalypse happens, I don't have a plan. I don't have like a zombie survival plan. I would just kill myself because the world is ruined and there's no point anymore. And that's not what happens in the comic, but it's kind of the outlook of the comic, right?
Yeah, and it's which feels like way too bleak to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't subscribe to this idea that like people are bad at their core. And I feel like that's what that show kind of is like in order to survive, you've just got to completely lose your humanity.
Right. I mean, certainly people put in bad situations will do bad stuff a lot of times, but our species literally survives by cooperating.
Right.
That's our whole shtick.
Right. Exactly. And I have to believe in community because it's the thing that gives me hope.
Yeah.
And so I don't like the world that is created.
Well, and I don't think it even matters necessarily if it's realistic or not. It's just a bummer to watch. Right?
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, like I said, the first couple seasons are pretty decent, you know, pretty good, you know, compelling TV or whatever, but
apparently Negan has a redemption arc.
Yeah, I didn't even really watch any of the stuff with that character.
I didn't either. I've only heard about that, but yeah. I mean, anyway. Yeah, so this is a podcast about why we don't watch The Walking Dead.
Yeah. I liked Robert Kirkman's another comic he did a lot better than Walking Dead, which is Invincible, which I don't think you've read or seen.
No, I know of it.
There's a cartoon of it. There's like a season or two of a cartoon of it now, I think. But it's a superhero comic. Invincible is a young superhero learning how to be a superhero and stuff, whose dad is basically Superman. I think he's called Omni-Man in the comic, but he's basically Superman, but with a mustache. And it turns out he comes from a planet of powerful people who all have mustaches.
Well, that's pretty great.
It has a pretty major character named Alan the Alien. He's just like a purple alien guy named Alan. It has a lot of there's a lot of good like superhero names for other superhero characters in it. There's a pair of twins who both have like the superpower where they can duplicate themselves or like make copies of themselves, and the girl is named Kate Duplicate and the boy is named Multi-Paul.
I think you have told me about that. That's
which I always
pretty
thought
good.
was pretty good.
Pretty
There's
good.
like a fair amount of stuff like that. It's also pretty bleak. His dad, the Superman dad, turns out to be evil, which is a little bit of a spoiler, but it happens fairly early on. And he sort of has a redemption arc later too. But anyway, and it's very bloody and stuff. It's kind of similar to The Boys in that way, like a very bloody superhero thing.
Yeah, so like I can handle if things are, violent or dark, as long as there's some hope thrown in there.
Right.
But if there's no hope thrown in there, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, it's just bleak.
I'm not like the world, especially right now, is bleak enough.
Right. I don't need extra bleakness.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there's just speaking, I guess, in general of like media consumption, but sometimes there's an appeal in having like your feelings validated by like when you have a breakup, listening to breakup songs that are sad because you're sad is good. And so, or can be good.
Yeah.
And so I can see like some appeal of bleak stuff in a bleak world, but
again, like I just don't feel like there's much catharsis if there isn't at least a glimmer of hope.
right, sure.
Like when I listen to sad music, it's like somebody has been through this same thing that I've been through, but it's not like, oh, this person has been through this same thing that I've been through and they're still in it and it's never going to get better. I don't
Right.
feel that way.
Right.
So this took
So this is the Sadness podcast.
this is Sadness, the podcast.
Sadness podcast.
I feel like we're qualified for that.
There might be
We're
something
uniquely
to that
qualified
actually.
to do that.
Sadness podcast, or like something about like validating your feelings when you're sad and you're depressed or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't
things
know.
that help you when you're sad. Our favorite sad
we
music.
would just tell sad stories that have happened to us, or had like listeners could tell us sad stories maybe or something.
Yeah. Catharsis, the podcast.
Yeah. I still kind of think that's too much of a bummer. I wouldn't probably really want to do it.
I'm
but
intrigued by it, though.
I could sort of see that being something people would listen to maybe.
I'm interested in talking more about it.
Yeah.
Put a pin in it.
Okay. I have another idea that I think might actually be a fun idea.
Okay,
to
we're gonna
do.
pivot.
The idea is similar to that game. I think we talked about this sometime in the past. We got a game for our friends for Christmas where you have to categorize things. Basically, like you get a card with two opposites, and you have to categorize things in those opposites.
Yeah.
So
what was that called?
I don't remember what the
It's
game
a fun
was called.
game.
But the idea is that's the podcast where we pick two opposite things, and then we have to categorize stuff in those two things. So for example, dogs and cats, we have to categorize all animals as either a dog or cat.
Right.
So like, is a llama a dog or a cat?
Dog.
I think it's a cat because they spit and stuff. And I feel like they got kind of a sassy energy that's more cat to me.
They do have a sassy cat energy.
I mean, physically they're more dog-like,
Yeah.
but I feel like they got some cat energy.
Yeah. I feel like their tongue action is more dog-like, but yeah, I guess that's
Their
physical.
tongue action is more dog-like. Can you elaborate on what you mean by that?
No, I will not be taking any further questions.
Okay.
I mean, they stick their long tongues out a lot. Like,
I guess so. That's more physical to me again.
well, that's
like,
what I said. I said
yeah,
it was more physical.
Yeah, okay. I feel like vibes based, I would vote cat for them. What about chickens?
Dogs.
Chickens are dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like dumb, goofy little guys, right?
That's the name of the podcast.
Dumb, goofy little
No,
guys.
chickens are dogs.
Chickens are dogs. I was thinking about names for it. I was thinking like black and white or binary something. I was also thinking 0 Shades of Gray would be kind of a fun, because it would be making everything binary, right? Like,
yeah.
Although that also sounds like it's like a anti 50 Shades of Grey podcast or something.
Or a like there are only two genders thing it could be mistaken for.
The 0 Shades of Grey thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Chickens or dogs is pretty good.
Chickens are dogs. Yeah, it's not bad.
I would click on a podcast called Chickens or Dogs.
Actually, chickens are dogs. I was also thinking we could talk more about animals. If we decide to do this, we can decide whatever we want to talk about, I guess. But I was also thinking we could do talk about jobs. What jobs are clown and what jobs are actuary?
Okay.
Right? Like those are, or at least that's what I was thinking, could be opposite kinds of jobs, right?
Okay. I think we should go with this one. I'm just thinking, we got a limited amount of time left.
Yeah,
I think we should pin down an idea quickly this
Should
week.
we just keep going with this one then?
Yeah. Yeah. Can we talk more about animals?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Let me see. Sheep.
Sheep are dogs.
Yeah,
Sheep
for
are
sure.
dogs.
I guess that's an easy one. What about monkeys?
Monkeys. That's a tough one, actually, because they're dumb little guys, but they got kind of sassy energy.
Yeah. I mean, they're not dumb little guys.
I
though.
mean, they're not dumb compared to a lot of animals, but they're dumb little guys.
I mean, they're
compared to
smarter
people.
than cats and dogs.
Yeah, true. True. And cats are also dumb little guys, so maybe it's not totally fair to categorize things as dog based on being dumb little guys. Like Goosebump is the epitome of a dumb little guy, even though I feel like he's reasonably smart for a cat, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, I do feel like if there's an animal that's going to fall right in the middle, it's probably the monkey. Yeah.
Would you think apes are different?
No.
Just the same as technically apes are monkeys, but
right. I still think they're probably
they're like pretty right in the middle.
Yeah.
So the spectrum goes cat, monkey, dog.
Yeah.
Cat on one end, dog on the other end, with monkey in the middle.
Yep.
Oh, monkey in the middle.
Monkey in the middle. That's a good name.
That could be an okay podcast name. It's a little generic, though.
I like the alliteration.
Yeah. Well, monkey in the middle is like a thing, right? Where you play monkey in the middle where you throw a ball between two people and somebody in the middle is trying to catch it.
What?
You never heard of that?
No.
Like when you take somebody's thing and you're like throwing it back and forth and not
and
letting
it's
them
called monkey in the middle?
I feel like that. And I don't think I just made that up. Monkey in the middle is a thing.
No, I mean, I know. Well, I never thought of it as an actual game. I thought of it as like...
Yeah, maybe it's not really a game, but...
This sucks, give me my ball back.
Yeah, but I feel like that's called monkey in the middle.
I've never heard that. Maybe you grew up on the East Coast.
Maybe
I
it's a
grew up on the
regional
West
thing,
Coast.
yeah.
So, well, I want to Google monkey in the middle now. Monkey in the middle.
Although I do feel like the podcast... Well, I guess it's our podcast. We can do whatever we want. But the point of it is to make the hard calls and say, actually, monkeys are cats or whatever.
Okay, yeah. We called it keep away. That's what we called it.
Yeah, sure. Keep away as well. But
I know we've discussed before, like the way that different regions have different names for things.
Right. Like Chucky Pigs.
Chucky Pigs. Yeah. So monkey in the middle is definitely one. It's also piggy in the middle.
Okay.
Or pickle in the middle.
Pickle in the middle. Okay.
Or pickle in a dish.
Pickle in a dish? Huh. Okay. Pickle in a dish. That's the name of the podcast. No.
Pickle in a dish.
Pickle in a dish. Why would it be called pickle in a dish?
Why would it be called pickle in the middle?
Well, if it's piggy in the middle, I could see people mishearing it as pickle in the middle or something, right? And then I guess maybe pickle in a dish from there? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure.
Monkey in the middle makes sense to me. Piggy in the middle doesn't make as much sense because pigs aren't like jumping and grabbing
and it's
stuff.
a little bit meaner.
Yeah. But but clearly it's like to make fun of the person you're already being mean to, right?
Right. Now I'm going to call you a piggy as well.
Or a pickle in a dish.
Like pigs, like pigs actually are good little guys.
Pigs are cats.
Pigs are cats?
Or pigs are dogs. I feel like they're dogs, actually.
Well, physically, definitely, right?
Yeah,
cats are like always grooming themselves and pigs
roll in shit.
Pigs roll in shit.
Like dogs do.
Yeah. And they're like the way they eat and everything.
Yeah, I feel like pigs got like I guess I haven't really interacted with that many pigs, so maybe they're not really like this. But my vibe check on pigs is that they're like loyal little guys that would be your little pal.
They're very sleepy.
Like cats. Like cats. A lot of dogs are pretty sleepy too. Not as sleepy as cats, but
maybe they're not like all the way on the dog spectrum, but they're like pretty far over.
They're I'd say toward dog though.
They're towards dog, yeah. With a little bit of cat sprinkled in there. Because they're very smart.
Yeah, they are. That's true.
I mean, dogs are smart too.
Some dogs are reasonably smart.
Yeah.
And cats I feel like people think of cats as smarter than dogs, but they're not really. They just act in ways that don't seem as dumb to us sometimes.
Yeah. It's the haughtiness.
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
Like when somebody doesn't say anything, you automatically assume they're like mysterious and a deep thinker or whatever.
Or something,
but no. They're then like 2 seconds later they're licking their own butthole.
Right.
So.
Or they're like attacking nothing on the wall or whatever, or jumping headfirst into a door or something.
Jumping fully into the bathtub.
Yeah. I mean, we could consider whether cats and dogs are really opposites.
Well, I think it's very silly to I think people compare cats and dogs because they're the most common pets, right?
Yeah.
But they're not really, you can't compare them because
they just have different behaviors.
They just have different behaviors. Well, for one thing, cats are not domesticated.
Cats are only like semi-domesticated.
Yeah. with a cat, you have a wild animal living in your house.
Basically.
And I think that, we could talk about why I think cats I personally think that cats get a bad rep.
Yeah.
They're just doing things that
people,
is part of being a cat.
Well, people say cats are assholes and dogs are loyal or whatever. And that's somewhat true. Cats are definitely assholes sometimes, but they're also loyal sometimes. And dogs are assholes all the time too, right?
Yeah.
My dog used to come and poop on stuff when he was mad. Poop on my clothes or something that were on the floor, which I should have cleaned up, to be fair. But
cats just resist training, right? Cats are...
but they can be trained.
Yeah.
Right.
They can be.
They're not as easy to train to do tricks and stuff like dogs, right?
Yeah. Because you can train them I trained Snally to high five for treats.
Right.
You can reinforce behaviors.
Yeah.
But they're gonna do it. They're still gonna not do it if they don't want to do it.
Right. Which could be seen as a standing up for themselves kind of intelligence thing.
Yeah.
But could also be seen as they're just too dumb to think they need to do it or whatever.
Or they're just I don't want food right now.
Yeah, they just don't care or whatever. It's just nothing's going on in the brain. They're not resisting or something necessarily.
So do you think that has to do with just how dogs have been bred versus how cats have been bred?
I think it's multiple things. It probably has something to do with that, but I think it also probably has to do with their behaviors in the wild, right? Because dogs are wolves are social hunters, right?
Right.
And cats are typically solitary hunters,
right?
Well, different kinds of cat, like lions, I guess. Female lions hunt together sometimes.
Yeah.
I think, but it depends on the cat. But I think typically that's going to make a big difference of how social you are in your sort of natural situation,
right?
But also breeding stuff, right? Because dogs. My understanding is dogs will, if you point at something, dogs will look where you point, whereas cats generally won't because they don't think of pointing as something they don't understand the concept, right? And I think that's a breeding thing, right? Dogs have just been bred to understand that they should care about that over time or whatever.
And they've maybe just
as they've adapted more.
They've adapted to humans more
and what humans are doing and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas cats don't care as much what humans are doing.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
because I feel you see part of this is just the way that cats procreate, but you see a lot more wild cats than wild dogs. Cats are surviving on their own. I feel a lot more than dogs are.
There's wild dogs all over. You mean feral dogs?
Feral dogs, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't know too much about that, but that seems true.
Right.
But it might also be that feral dogs are more dangerous, so we get rid of them, right?
Yeah.
I think there's also...
Which is interesting because you are much better off being bitten by a dog than a cat.
Right, but you're more likely to get bitten by a dog, right? A cat's more likely to run away, I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not. All this is just kind of
beside the point.
Vibes based and not necessarily scientifically based as far as...
Well, the bite thing, yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying we're trying to talk about trends of what happened in prehistory and we don't necessarily know for sure. But
parrots.
I was going to say one more thing about cats and dogs is that what we use them for also, right? Cats were left in your grain storage to go eat the mice so that they didn't. Whereas dogs you took on the hunt with you to help.
So cats are better at being alone because they're more independent. And they're used to being alone.
That's why we wanted them to some extent, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, parrots. Are parrots dogs or cats? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Parrots are cats.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Parrots are cats.
Yeah.
Just like chickens are dogs.
Parrots are cats. Frogs.
I want to say cat, actually. I was going to say dog, and I was like, is it just because it rhymes? But I feel like they're more aloof.
Yeah.
And wouldn't care what you were doing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's more cat thing.
And you'd call them, and they just feel whoop, out of here.
You'd just jump away.
You just jump away.
Yeah.
Cats do that for sure.
If they do anything.
Jump away.
When you call them, yeah. Buffalo.
Dogs.
Buffaloes seem like dogs.
Yeah.
Maybe just because
they seem like big dogs.
Big beefy dogs.
Big beefy dogs. I have told you this story before, but one time there was a place in Washington where you could go to feed buffalo.
Okay.
and they'd give you like these buckets of food that you could feed the buffalo, and you drive through. They had a big sign by the exit that said, "Do not feed the buffalo." And we looked up and there's just like 4 or 5 buffalo just blocking our car, so we can't even drive out. One of them,
they give you food to feed the buffalo, but then the sign says don't feed the buffalo?
At the gate. Don't feed the buffalo at the gate.
Oh, okay.
Because they'll block the gate.
Right.
But they were blocking the gate, and so we tried to lure them over to the car with food. And this one came over to my mom's window. She was driving, and she rolls down the window to give it some food, and its entire tongue was just inside the car. She has it on one of our home videos of just like her screaming and this tongue just going into the car, and my little sister in the backseat just losing it laughing. Mm-hmm. Tire window covered in slobber. And so I just immediately thought of that and was like, for sure, dogs.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty dog behavior, I would say. Cats can be pretty food motivated, but dogs seem like way more food motivated in general.
Yeah.
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 What about horses? Are horses dogs or cats?
Dogs.
They're dogs.
They're dogs.
They're big weird
They're dogs. They're big weird dogs that you can ride.
Yeah. Yeah,
I feel like that's how I would describe it to someone who didn't know what a horse was.
It's like a big weird dog you can ride. Yeah, that's true. You wouldn't say it's like a big weird cat you can ride. That would be a totally different vibe.
I was like, it's like a big weird dog that you can ride.
Yep, that's horses. And their tongue action is much like dogs as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the defining feature of dogs is their tongue action. Just like llamas.
I mean, it is one of the first things you think of, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like whenever I meet a dog, I'm immediately like, don't go for my face.
Yeah, the tongue action.
Yeah.
What about octopuses?
Dog.
I think they're cat.
Really?
I think the octopuses are cat.
Maybe I don't know enough about octopuses.
Well, they are solitary.
Okay.
And like
they spit.
They do spit. Well, they got the ink.
They got the ink.
Yeah. And they can change into different shapes and colors and stuff. I don't know. Neither of those are very cat or dog, I guess. But I feel like
they got the cat like stare down, probably.
Yeah, I feel like they're and they're cheeky a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like the octopus that like gets out of its cage and goes and eats fish in a different aquarium and then goes back in the morning before the scientists like see them or whatever. That's happened for sure a bunch of times.
That's in the book that I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's more of a cat thing. Well, I mean, being food motivated though is more of a dog thing.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, but the book, I'm reading Remarkably Bright Creatures right now, and the octopus in that is definitely more cat-like because it's methodical and like it wants a certain food.
Yeah.
So it's going to sneak out and get that food.
Right.
Which I feel like picky food behavior is a cat thing.
Are dogs chaotic and cats lawful? Maybe.
Oh no. Do you think
cats
so?
are definitely chaotic too.
Cats are chaotic for sure.
Yeah.
Cats will like just run around the house batshit crazy at 2 a.m. for no reason.
That's very true. Maybe cats are neutral at best. I think octopuses have an alienness to them, which I feel like is more along the cat side.
I can see
than
that.
the dog side.
Yeah.
Dogs are like are dogs the most earthling animal? I feel like dogs are extremely down to earth, I guess is what I'm saying. Like they're not looking to go to the stars. They're not even thinking about, outside of their yard or whatever, really.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So by down to earth, you mean like
just not at all concerned with the idea of like traveling to another planet or something, right? Like,
well, right.
Or
I mean,
they're not very cosmopolitan.
You
I
leave
guess.
And you've gone to another planet. They're sure of it.
That's true. That's true. And I guess I guess dogs do go on incredible journeys sometimes and stuff, or whatever.
I think there's a movie about that.
I feel like I saw a movie. Actually, was there a cat and a dog in that? Was that the one?
There is a cat and 2 dogs.
Is that Homeward Bound or that is Homeward?
It's called Homeward Bound.
Yeah. It's the same
: The Incredible Journey.
Right. What's the one? Oh, Milo Notice. Sometimes I think I get those a little bit confused for some reason because they also go on kind of a trip.
They do
Milo
by
Notice.
accident. Yeah. Well, I guess they all go on trips by accident.
Yeah.
Well, no, they don't go on a trip by accident in The Incredible Journey. They run away.
Do they?
Yeah, they're supposed to be like staying with someone.
But they're trying to get back home.
Yeah.
Homeward Bound.
Yeah. Like the family goes on a long, lengthy trip somewhere or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't. It's been a long time since I saw those movies.
All I remember is like the moment when they think like the older dog has died, and like because the other two come into the yard, and then you have like the kid turns away, and then little ghost.
I don't remember that.
The ghost face retriever comes over the hill, and you're crying, and then you're like, oh my god, he's okay.
Is Sally Fields the cat?
Sally Fields is the cat. Yeah. Yep. Michael J. Fox, I think,
one of
is
the dogs, right?
the younger dog.
Younger dog, yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember who the older dog is.
So anyway, octopuses are cats.
So anyway, incredible journey.
Octopuses are cats.
Octopuses are cats.
Okay, should we talk about things besides animals? Like, and is there a better like opposite job from clown than actuary maybe? And we also could just talk about like what's a sphere versus a pyramid, or
what about a tardigrade?
So we're still talking about animals.
Just one more.
Tardigrades are dogs.
Tardigrades are dogs?
Yeah. They're little guys. They're little dogs with extra legs. That's my vibe check on tardigrades.
I guess I don't have a good argument otherwise. So, all right, clowns and actuaries.
Or is there a better, maybe like CEO, clown or CEO, or I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe that's too flattering to CEOs.
Yeah.
Clown or president, or clown or what's the opposite of clown? I feel like actuary is a very boring, serious job.
Yeah.
No offense to actuaries out
We're
there.
going funny versus like super, super serious, right?
Yeah, like goofy versus serious, I guess.
Clown. Yeah. I mean, I guess clown or accountant.
Yeah. But I feel like
actuary
actuary is like a step above accountant.
Okay. Yeah. I think clown.
They like calculate the odds that people are going to die and stuff.
Clown or actuary is pretty good, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So is being a chef a clown or an actuary?
I feel like that's maybe in the middle.
It's kind of in the middle, but we got to make the hard choice.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more fun. Like food is fun, and it's obviously important, but like,
yeah, I guess it leans a little bit towards clown, but not like extremely.
No, yeah, I think it's clown. I think it is clown because like food is important, and you'll die if you don't eat it. But you don't need a chef to make food. Chefs make fun food,
right?
So they're more fun than not fun, I guess.
Yeah.
What about I don't know, stevedore unloading ships at the docks or whatever?
What a door?
Stevedore?
I've never heard that.
Oh, that's what it's called.
Oh.
People like longshoremen or whatever.
Okay, longshoremen I've heard. Stevedore I've never heard.
I think those are the same or similar jobs anyway.
I have no idea.
Seems more actuary to me. It doesn't seem very fun.
This conversation.
Is this conversation a job?
No, but it's feeling more actuary.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think
just the clown versus actuary part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's just comparing jobs. It's like
okay. Maybe we don't have to only put the same things into those categories, right? Like maybe we could say cats versus dogs to anything. Is an air conditioner a cat or a dog? Right? Is is the president a cat or a dog?
Come up with just very ridiculous things like, well, if my dog licked me all over, it would cool me down, probably.
Right. The criteria for categorizing them is necessarily going to be ridiculous, right?
Right.
And so maybe that's even more fun if it's not animals. Like animals is the easier thing to do, but like our dogs, clowns, or actuaries.
Clowns for sure.
Right? But I feel like cats are also clowns.
I mean, they're more serious.
But they're less clowns than dogs, but they're still clowns.
Would you believe a cat? Would you first believe a dog is an actuary or a cat is an actuary?
A cat. Because cats might be kind of happy about calculating when you're going to die.
Just biding their time.
Yeah, they're like, yes, you will die soon.
Steepled
fingers. Like, yeah, if there was a cartoon where somebody was an actuary, it being a cat would make a lot more sense than it being a dog, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But still, I still feel like cats overall are more clown than actuary.
Yeah, in reality, but our perception of them is definitely more actuary.
Yeah. Certain depictions or conceptions of them. It's making me think about, do you remember the video game / cartoon Earthworm Jim?
I loved Earthworm Jim.
turns out the guy that like created that art is a real
I
piece
think
of
you
crap.
told me that.
But Earthworm Jim was fun. And
But I do kind of just assume that most like dudes that are successful are assholes until they prove otherwise.
yeah, but he's
It's
like a Nazi or something, I think. Like he's that kind of bad. Or a Christian fascist or something. Like he's some kind of like bad ideology guy.
Okay.
But
Well, that's unfortunate.
yeah, I love his art style actually. I've seen there's other stuff he's done that's also great, but artistic, aesthetically I like.
Yeah.
But there was in that one of the bad guys was Evil the Cat. And
Evil
it was like
the
a
Cat
from hell or something.
Yeah. I mean, and that always makes me sad because I do feel like cats are just depicted as bad a lot of times.
I mean, we kind of maybe like them for that reason though,
Yeah.
too, right? Because like also another villain in that was like a crow guy, and we like crows. Bats are spooky and we like bat. Like part of identifying with cats is being a little bit of a bad boy.
Yeah.
like we are. But you know what I mean? Like obviously it sounds a little cringy the way I just said it, but like
But when a cat does something wrong, like you're mad, but you're also like amused.
you're like, because cats are ACAB, right?
Yeah.
Cats are like, fuck the police.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of ACAB? And then we could categorize things. Blue Lives Matter. Right? So ACAB versus Blue Lives Matter.
Okay. Yeah. Cats are ACAB.
Cats are definitely ACAB, but so are dogs, I think. Or they can be.
Yeah.
Well, they can be. There's some cop dogs.
Yeah, but do they want to be cop dogs? No. Do they even like realize they're cop dogs?
There's like a famous dog in like Mexico or someplace that like only attacks cops. I feel like I've read about. But yeah, I don't know. But
Comrade dog.
You could never imagine a cat being a police animal.
No.
Right?
No.
So I would say that dogs are a little bit less
I would like to see them try though.
Dogs are a little less ACAB, but I think they're still ACAB.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean they like to I like to imagine that they bite mailmen because they're mistaking the uniform.
Or because they're like down with the state.
Yeah.
They're anarchists or something.
Yeah.
I mean cats are anarchists for sure.
Cats are for sure anarchists.
Yeah.
Cause just like half the stuff they do is like, why did you decide to run around screaming at 2 a.m.?
You chose violence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I don't think I want to categorize things as ACAB or Blue Lives Matter because that's sort of depressing.
Yeah.
But are buses cats or dogs?
Buses.
I feel like they're dogs.
They're dogs. Yeah, they're dogs because they just go
the
where they're supposed to.
Yeah, they go where they're supposed to. They're like, they're serving us, right?
Yeah.
They're helping us. They're our helper.
A little helper.
Helper machine.
What about cars?
Cars? Yeah, I mean, cars are basically the same, I guess, as buses.
I mean, they can it all depends on the driver. So a car could be a cat. You don't know what another car is going to do.
That's true. And some people do donuts at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Which is basically the same as getting the zoomies. But I feel like that's more the people necessarily than the car itself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like random things to categorize.
Daleks.
Daleks are cats.
Daleks are cats.
Yeah.
Because they're evil
I guess. And sassy.
and sassy. They are sassy.
They're certainly
So
not.
then are Cybermen dogs?
Yeah, actually, I think Cybermen are kind of dogs. Not in a good way for dogs, but compared to Daleks, they're definitely
They're
dogs.
like for our cliches of dogs, like our conception of like what a dog is versus like misconception a lot of times, right? But
Daleks versus Cybermen could be its own one of these, maybe. Our cats Daleks, right? You could do the same thing in reverse. But
yeah. I guess if you flip it, it's like pretty easy, right? Yeah, cats are for sure Daleks.
Yeah, but and I would say Cybermen are basically just shitty Daleks, right? In at least a lot of episodes, they're just like bad. They're just trying to do the same thing as Daleks, but not very well.
So are you saying that dogs are shitty cats?
In some ways, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, they're obviously multifaceted, and there's some things that are.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, like Cybermen were created by humans, right? I feel like dogs are more engineered by humans than cats are.
As we talked about in our other episode, dogs are art, maybe.
Dogs are art, maybe.
Dogs might be art, whereas you couldn't really claim that with cats.
Yeah, cats.
And Cybermen are art. Okay, art or not art is basically the same idea, actually.
Right.
Sort of. I mean, that episode was more about like discussing whether something could be art or not.
I mean, because if you change the scale, right, it like if we're saying Cybermen Cybermen on one side, Daleks on one side. But then if we said art on one side, not art on the other side, I call Cybermen and Daleks both art.
Yeah, I suppose.
So,
or both not art. I don't know. I feel like I also feel like
art is a broader category, I guess is my point.
Yeah. I feel like also I think for this, if we were going to do more of this podcast, we couldn't just do is it a thing or not the thing. We need to find two opposites that aren't just true and false, right? Aren't just true, not true, right?
Right.
To speak in sort of programming terms.
Right.
Right. Like art, it would have to be like art versus like hamburgers or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, something that was a completely random.
Is it more art or is it more hamburger?
Yeah. And art and hamburgers aren't opposites. Hamburgers are arguably art based on our corn dog conversation in that episode. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's a pretty good one. Although I was listening back to it, the audio quality is not the best.
Yeah. We were just starting out.
Before we got our new mics. All right. Well, are we wrapping up here at this
corn
point?
Dogs. One last one. Corn dogs.
Well, they're dogs.
All right. Yeah.
But
are they Cybermen or are they Daleks?
They're Cybermen because they're an artificial exterior with a little bit of meat inside. Actually, both of them are like that.
Yeah, they're both like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like corn dogs aren't sassy enough to be Daleks.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe if you put a lot of mustard on it.
Yeah. Now it's a Dalek. And that's what you say next time you eat a corn dog, and everybody will just look at you like...
You'd be like, I got a Cyberman here, put some mustard on it, now I got a Dalek. And everyone will be confused, including yourself.
Unless they listen to our podcast.
Right. Which probably they have, because everybody does.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should.
They should. I agree. More people definitely should. Should we do our social media stuff?
Yes, let's do our social media stuff. So you can find all of our links to our social media on our website, which is coolpodcast.website. You can email us at coolpodcast.website. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at whatshouldpod. And please rate us, follow us, subscribe. But most importantly, please send us your ideas. We want to talk about them.
We need ideas.
We need ideas because we are sleep deprived, and coming up with ideas is hard.
Instead of the idea being literally plagiarized from other podcasts, you could give us an idea and we could credit you and not plagiarize it.
Yeah. And we'll talk about how wonderful you are.
Probably, unless it's a really bad idea. Like an evil idea.
You should scare them off.
Don't send evil ideas.
Don't send evil ideas. No, send evil ideas. Actually, that could be fun to talk about.
Evil in a fun way, maybe, but...
Don't send any like fascist or racist ideas.
Don't send like actually evil ideas.
Yeah.
Welcome to What Should Our Outro Be About? The outro where we try to figure out what this outro that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm still here.
And I'm also still here.
Do we have anything? Do you have anything?
I did not prepare anything as usual. Our outro is just the sound of a cat yowling.
That's terrible. And no one likes that. But some kind of weird sound.
I find it funny.
You find it funny to talk about. You find it funny. Okay, so it's you making a cat yowling noise.
Yeah. Is that good audio?
Probably not. We used to have a cat.
That's the cat warning alarm.
Yeah, we used to have a cat that did that all the time where like if he was mad at you, he would be like That cat's name when we got it was Raindrop, but we changed his name to Killer.
Oh.
It was a good cat.
Oh, that's cute.
But we just called him Pootie all the time. That's like what we called him, even though his name was Killer. That's not as cute. Yeah, it was. I don't know where that came from. I mean, I guess Pootie Cats or Pootie Tats or whatever from cartoons, maybe.
But we just talk about for our outro. We just talk about our favorite cat noises.
How many noises are there?
There's a lot. I personally love the little chirpy noise they make when they see a bird. That's
a good one. I was also going to say.
Do you have an idea?
We could do something where we just like put weird effects on our voices, maybe sound like aliens or robots or something. Maybe could be fun.
That's better than cat noises, you think?
Well, we'd have to like say some stuff.
Yeah. What
to
kind of
put
stuff?
The effects on. I don't know. The Human Torch was denied a bank loan kind of stuff, right? Like
unique New York. Unique New York.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood and stuff like that. Tongue twisters. Do you have any? Can you say any tongue twisters? I guess we talked about that.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers. So
That's it. That's all.
you're
I
still
got.
suggesting I put in some cat yelling noises.
That's all. That's all. That's all that's rattling around in my brain right now.
And you like that better than just saying some stuff and we put...
I don't have a strong opinion.
Yeah.
I'm willing to concede.
All right, well, I guess we'll leave it up to me in the edit.
I can't wait to see what you decide.
We'll see what I do. And I guess if I do the voice effect thing, I'll just do it on what we've been saying.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
We've thrown in some tongue twisters, though.
That's true. We could just do it on that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. There it was. That's what happened.
You're welcome.
I did that thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank me. Thank you. Thank us for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. We also listened. Thank you for listening to our stupid podcast.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
What was that podcast about? I'm trying to figure it out. Didn't catch what that was about.